Hello everyone and welcome to another SpyParty Masters Championship competitive stream. I'm Corvus Mallory and I'm joined by my co-caster Slappy Davis.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. I think this is going to be just amazing and yeah, cannot wait.
Well, we've got a match today between OpiWrites and Sauerkraut, two competitive veterans of the game who've made their way into SMC. Just to give you a reminder of where we stand, so OpiWrites was seeded directly into the Champions Round Robin on the back of his strong performance during the season. Sauerkraut, on the other hand, came in all the way from Challengers, so seeded 12th in Challengers, defeated Pofke, defeated C-Rams, and has made it into the Champions Round Robin, and has a chance to come out first in this group, which is a huge achievement for someone who came from Challengers. Now, we'll talk a little bit about the stakes, we'll talk a little bit about what these players are likely to see in terms of the draft, but before we do any of that, let's talk about the players themselves, and starting with OpiWrites. OpiWrites third in Winter Cup, third in Golden Gold, second in Mix and Match. A lot of success this season. I think, as has been historically the case, OpiWrites has had trouble coming out of events as first place. But the good news is that's not needed. OpiWrites can come out second out of this group and still progress into the bracket, but I am certain he'll be wanting to take first. There's so much we could say about OpiWrites, so much that has been said about OpiWrites. We're going to start by taking a quick look at a highlight video of his from a previous match and talk a little bit about what we can expect from his play on the basis of that clip. Still just standing out here with one difficult briefcase print and one white flirt for New York coming up on 2 minutes. And we are still just wandering around without mission progress. We have a request all the way out here. Surely we're not going to actually take this drink.
I think we are. That is a very interesting strategy. Ooh.
We take our own.
If that's not seen, it works.
Wow.
If that's not seen, it works.
Wow.
But Sniper is zoomed in and just like right on camera. It's not like it's on the side like with microfilm. This is in front of us. But maybe, just maybe.
So, OpiWrites showing complete control of the party here, and I think a lot of game knowledge as well. I think the ability to pick up that the list was, there's this tech of like green purloining taking your own list. I mean, of course, like most high-level players at this point will be aware of that, but even just being aware of the long-distance request, like Obi's laser really gives away the fact that even as soon as Toby's walking all the way down, he's completely on top of this, basically knows who the spy is, just waits for any reason to shoot. Now that's Opi's sniper side. Opi would probably mostly describe himself as a camper. Most people in the community would describe him that way. I know Opi has brought in a ton of etiquette sniping to augment that game, and has talked about the dangers of leaning too much into behavioral sniping, just the lack of consistency that you can see at the top level. So I know OpiWrites will be trying to come out of this with a win. But it's not all about OpiWrites. We have one more competitor, and that is Sauerkraut, whose story is perhaps even more interesting. Sauerkraut, a veteran of the game for sure, first participated in competitive events in SCL 6, but came into SCL 6 with thousands of games, was playing in Challenger, thousands of games on his account even at that point, and has not slowed down, plays long sets, of course, with his countryman Nebula, has had I'll say some competitive success, hasn't really made a deep run since I think Summer Cup, maybe 2020, I want to say. And of course this year, Summer Cup 5th place was enough to squeak the very last Master Rank points slot into SMC. But we have these results, 12-4 versus Lazy Bear and 6-10 versus New York. I believe 12-4 is the most one-sided scoreline that we've seen in SMC so far. I think we've seen 2 of them. So extremely strong results from Sauerkraut. New York, of course, a very strong player. New York, even higher seeded than OpiWrites, and 6-10 there. We'll talk a little bit about more Sauerkraut's style, but let's pull up a clip from one of his recent SMC games. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Going straight for bookcase. We're gonna attempt microfilm again.
We just rip it out.
Are we going straight to the other bookcase?
We sure are.
And we're not seen?
We are not. Sauerkraut's gonna get this transfer, it appears, clean.
Wow. Are we going for a slight rush? No, we're not. Okay.
I think the rush
Oh,
here...
we
Never
could've.
mind, we go for the bug! Are you
We
serious?
could have. Purloin bug transfer fingerprint. That would have been a beautiful rush. Can still happen.
Just too much laser motion, I think, when it's happening. Yeah, we now have 2.5 missions done with 2.5 minutes left on Ballroom, and we're carrying around this briefcase. And that was game 15 of Sauerkraut's set, so I think this speaks a lot to Sauerkraut's willingness to really go for aggressive plays on the spy side, and especially microfilm. We have seen microfilm take more of a presence in SMC probably than most people would have expected. Microfilm traditionally considered an out-of-meta approach on the spy side, but spies in this competition have been leading into it, and Sauerkraut has actually been leading the charge with microfilm. So I would not be at all surprised to see him try to pull some of that out in this match. He also shows that he's very, very capable of dealing with the longer format. You know, there are some players very used to playing best of 12s that might struggle in a best of 16 or even the best of 20s that are coming up in the semifinals. Sauerkraut, of course, no stranger to playing long sets, not going to have that problem, I think it's fair to say. And I'm really hoping that Sauerkraut shows up and really puts the screws to OpiWrites and gives us a really strong set. Now, before we get into the match, we of course have to take a look at the draft. So let's get that up here. We have the bans on Aquarium and Veranda, the restricts on Gallery and Moderne, doubled Ballroom, doubled Tayen, singled Moderne, Gallery, Pub, and Library. So Slappy, let me pull you in here. I mean, looking at this draft, what stands out to you?
I literally have my notes. I hope Sauer doesn't ban Veranda. Opie has yet to, I think Opie has yet to win a sniper game on Veranda in SMC. Now, I think I'm only drawing off of a pool of 2 in that, but I actually do not think that Veranda was a threat at all in here. Not that I think that Sauer really strongly needs to feel out the bans. I think Sauer just is like, doesn't like Veranda and just banned it out that way. But I actually think that the Veranda ban, I don't think it's going to matter because I'm guessing that Sauer feels pretty comfortable on the maps, but I was actually kind of hoping that this is going to be the one match where Sauer did not ban Veranda, because I actually legitimately think that it would not have been necessary versus OP. Ban on Aquarium, not surprised, especially versus a player like Sauer. I think it's a dangerous map, and just other than like having to practice on it also, as someone that's going to be jumping into it a lot, it's just nice to not even have to worry about it. So not surprised by anything there. The restricts, 2 large maps. I don't think that there's any particular thought that went into those. I think that they just didn't want it to come up a lot for them. I'm a little bit surprised that Moderne was the restrict. I didn't actually look at the history to see if there's anything there. But then actually getting to the picks, I am not surprised by the doubled Ballroom, of course, by Opie. Tayen is going to be potentially the big swingy part of this set, though, where I think there's going to be a lot of attention put on it. Of course, Ballroom is, of course, swingy as well. But the thing about Tayen that draws me in is I want to say this is just off of my reading of the results and my recollection of watching the streams. I do not have stats on this. Sauer might have one of the highest opponent Civ shot rates. So Tayen, I'm not sure if that's because of map selection also. So I'm not including this. Don't read too much into this, but I think that Sauer actually has a very high opposing sniper Civ shot rate, and Tayen and Pub, of course, going to be 2 big threats for that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these, the thing that stands out to me most about this, I'm super into the doubles. I think they look great. The thing that's interesting to me is that we have the ban on Veranda and the restrict on Moderne from Sauerkraut. Now, these are 2 venues that in SMC so far have been very sniper favored. And so you can read this as Sauer saying, like, well, I want some venues that'll create some chaos, right? I think that plays into Sauer's style. We saw that in the clip. Sauer may be coming in here thinking Opie is probably the favorite on paper, and I think it's hard for anyone to disagree with that. But then after banning Veranda and restricting Modern, all of which are likely to just go 2-2 or 1-1, we see the single onto library, which also in SMC has a sub 20% spy win rate. And so I'm going to be very curious to see what Sour's plan is on library, because that is not the venue that I would have expected to see Sour picking in this match. Opie, maybe. I'm a little surprised to see Opie finishing off his picks with Pub. Opie's probably hoping to be ahead in the set at that point and would be very willing to just take a library split. But maybe Sour here is coming in with more of a plan than we would expect. Only time will tell. And just before we hop into the first game, Slappy, there is one more thing that we have to do. You know what it is. It's our predictions. I will go first. I guess I'm written on the left. Someday I'll have to check on those assets, see why that's always me on the left. But I think here the prediction is not hard to make for me. You know, Sauerkraut has consistently surprised me with his results. I don't think I've picked Sauerkraut once on these prediction screens, and I feel bad about it every time because every time he comes out swinging and really upsets my expectations. But I'm gonna have to stick with what I think, and it's gonna be an Opie win, 11-5.
Yeah, I can't say that I disagree, and in fact, I think that it's more useful. I intuitively I want to be like, oh, toss in a Sauerkraut there, just because it would show a little bit more uncertainty about the outcome. And it's not really certainty; it's about poise and predictions. But I am going to also predict. I'm going to predict 12-4 Opie, specifically because I think that something better than that is showing that Sauerkraut is doing honestly a little bit higher up than I'm pulling from him. I do think that is an obvious potential spot. But the other thing is, I think if this was a different set, maybe it would be a bit closer. I just feel like Opie in particular is going to be super, super, super dialed in. I do not think he's going to let up. I do not think that at any point is Opie going to, after they get their guaranteed a spot into the next round, I do not think they're going to let up. I think they're going to fight every single game. And I also don't think they're going to hold back any particular tech. So I don't think there's going to be any reason why Opie wouldn't try to run up the score. So even if it is a Opie win that's very close, I think it would be closer than I expect. And of course, if Sauer wins this, it would be the biggest, I think, result of his career so far.
I think that's absolutely true. Both of these players in control of their own destiny, both have the option of coming out of this first in groups. Thanks, of course, to Telna with all the stats and scenarios that has helped provide us with. It has been extremely helpful. But that's enough for our pre-stream. It's time to get into the match. And the match will start with OpiWrites on the spy side of Ballroom and Sauerkraut on the sniper. Slappy, you get ready? Are you ready to get into the first game of this set?
Absolutely.
All right, well then let's get into it in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I don't think anybody was surprised to see Ballroom come out here. And it's like a meme at this point, but actually legitimately, I think Opie still does love this map. A lot of the times when people declare early love for a map and then a few years pass by, that reputation sticks around and some things change. I think Opie still loves Ballroom, and it is such a flexible and fun map. You kind of don't get tired of it.
And we take a bug. It's not going to land. The ambassador walks away right as we tried it. And so no harm, no foul. No indication that was actually seen. Unfortunate that Tex walked away. But Opie lives to try another day. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on the maps. We've seen that from other players in the community. The first one that comes to mind, another SMC competitor, Scout, who in their very early days of STL 6 was known to be a beast on Taeyen, these days a little bit less. You probably also have some of that in the Aquarium meta. Lazy Bear, of course, would be one example, and we saw players in SMC doubling Aquarium into Lazy Bear. So things come and go, but Opie and Ballroom stay together. And 2 minutes 20 now on the clock as we go for a quick green purloin and a quick leave. OpiWrites trusting in that green rate. It is super high and he's taking advantage of it. That's a green purloin pending, and it is still going to be... Okay, here it is. It's taken by Duke. The list is seen just for a second. A quick laser snap away. I'm not actually sure if we know it's gone.
I'm in the exact same space as you on that. Okay, we're seeing low light reactions coming out, but they don't look like they're purloin reactions. Okay, so there's a very clear tray look right there where it should have caught our attention if we happen to not see it. Then again, I don't know if Sauerkraut is the type of player that doesn't bother low lighting if they have their highlights in there and just aren't going to give away that information by flicking laser around. Sauerkraut really did linger on Opie when they were at statues for a little bit, and I was really curious about why we were sitting there. So even if this purloin wasn't fully out there. Okay, wow. So confident shot, obviously. So I wonder if no contact. If we were just okay, maybe we missed something like that bug, like at the beginning, which I agree. I don't think there was any indication that had been seen at all. But we weren't taking any chances in shooting early, and yeah, we didn't get much of a chain after, which is a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, a fantastic shot, and also just very confident, right? We didn't wait for the inspects to finish or anything like that. We were just shooting. We were sure.
All right, well, that is going to be the first point going the way of Sauerkraut, who picks up an early lead on the sniper side, but it's early days still, and now Sauerkraut has to answer back with a spy game on Ballroom versus OpiWrites, and Sauerkraut going to be doing it as Duke, Opie on the sniper side, and let's get this game going in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And chat already beat me to my own self-deprecating punch, which was like, all right, well, yeah, there's a quarter of the wins that I predicted already. So yeah, I'm already losing a little bit of faith because I sure love that shot by Sauerkraut. To me, that bodes very well. So we could actually see the beginnings of something really wonderful here.
Yeah, of course, I'm out here hedging my bets by saying that Sauerkraut has consistently outplayed my expectations, and this game appears to be no exception. We pick up a couple of early inspects from Sauerkraut, and we'll be on our way. Just under 3 minutes on the clock. We're going to try to get this flirt. I think we will succeed. It's going to be a little bit close. There's the white test, and we do hit at 34% as our seduction target walks away. So pretty quick progress from Sauerkraut, and that's the kind of thing you like to see. Oh, but
we go for this. Ooh, yeah. I was gonna say that we happened to be on a rotation on that where it was gonna be really tough for us, even if the ambassador didn't take an awkward path on that. The ambassador did not help us on that for sure. I think we were gonna die either way, and that was a little too reactive from Sauerkraut. Sauerkraut as a spy is very good at just feeling out opportunities in there, but did not take the time to see where Sniper was at. It was not the right time for that bug.
I think that's extremely important, is that that's a good bug if the sniper is not sitting right there. Unfortunately, the sniper is sitting at the angle exactly designed to guard that. I don't think that's a coincidence from OpiWrites that he was ready for that bug, but it does mean that we've now had 2 quick sniper shots on Ballroom and a 1-1 scoreline.
Yes, and importantly, I think that they showcase 2 types of spy wins that might actually come up a lot for those players. One is the sort of flowy, unpredictable nature of Sauerkraut, shot by Opie. Another is the use of a quick reject and run away, trying to get out of that purloin chain entirely that Opie's going to really rely on, also shot. So I feel like those are parts of their core spy play that have gotten shut down early.
All right, well, OpiWrites back on the spy side, playing as Duke in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And OpiWrites
now mirroring.
Yeah, you know, the mirror strategy can get into your head if you do too much. We go in for a white flirt from OpiWrites, uncharacteristic. OpiWrites, of course, by far the highest green rate of any SMC player. And we go for the transfer. There's really just no cover, but it's green and our attention is elsewhere. And OpiWrites, I think, has this microfilm in pocket.
I don't know. I'm glad that we have different reads on this. For some reason, this feels like Opie's dead. I don't know why I feel this way. I feel like Opie is. I think that's absolutely seen. But there's no proof. I just feel, for some reason, that's the way that the sniper camera moved after that. It just horrendous to me. But right now, we're still playing around other stuff. So I could be wrong on this.
Sauerkraut paying a lot of attention to this bug. I can't tell if we're in golden bug range, but we might be. Here's the request. Another purloin, another green. and it's being watched very carefully by Sauerkraut. That reject is very clearly visible. The offer to the ambassador. Will the ambassador take? No, he will not. That doesn't lengthen the chain, but it lengthens the mental strain. And now a request has happened, but we're walking away. This is just an attempt to try to draw Toby over to some particular direction. In the meantime, we've finished our flirt. Many things are happening all at once. Another reject, and now OpiWrites is heading into books. But we've almost given up on watching this trade because it's been so long. There's another reject.
I love this. I love this. I've tried to pull this off, and I'm just bad at it. This is wonderful. So you called out correctly on those requests, right? And he went to 3 locations where he could keep the chain going. Like, we did get lucky on a reject, right? But he kept Toby resetting because he wanted to do the second part of the microfilm while the purloin was still the main attention draw of the sniper. That was a wonderful use of the distraction where it's not even on the list take. It's the fact that they just have to keep watching Toby. That was an amazing play. I love it.
Transfer is in the books. Purloin is in the books. All we need here is a contact, if you can believe it, and we'll be in mission win countdown. We also even could have maybe taken this bug as the list was being taken. I would have loved to see that. OpiWrites decides it's not necessary after doing that transfer, and I certainly understand. But, I mean, at this point, if we go for a contact, how many Purloin suspects are there? It's going to be so hard for Sauerkraut to take this shot and prevent Opie from getting up to a second point.
And I feel like, so obviously like a contact feels risky because they might shot, but I feel like we are really conditioned on the fact that we missed the microfilm, right? And Sauerkraut probably waits for some other piece of confirmation coming at Opie. We intentionally leave that conversation to go right to the double agent, and we're the only person in here. I'm curious about that, but I mean, we kind of just really want this contact, so we have to fire it off. I mean, it's so nerve-wracking as spy to fire off a contact when you don't know if the other SDAs are in conversation, but you just this conversation is getting really good now.
Banana bread.
There it is, and the instant shot, it's not onto the spy. That's going to be OpiWrites picking up a spy game on the back of, it's a good purloin, but I would actually say on the back of a great transfer.
Yeah, and again, like he was resetting Toby just at the right times to reduce the number of rejects that were going to be there. He did have to get at least that one, but this is one of the favorite plays that he's seen so far. We did get a little lucky that we didn't die right at the beginning of this, which we could have kept this tech in pocket. I hope that Sauerkraut takes a second and reviews the replay, because Toby's odd movements in future games could be an indication that Opie's trying to use the continued purloin chain that's out there as a distraction.
All right, well, we can get into our final game of Ballroom. Now, remember, this was Opie's pick, so if Opie 3-1s this, if Sauerkraut can answer back with the 3-1 on Tejan, we'll still be coming into halftime tied. And it's going to be Sauerkraut on the spy side, playing as Sick, looking to try to keep this under control with a spy win. Opie sniping for the lead in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And I can't emphasize enough how much I love that, because it not only was a distraction, it utilized the resources of the moment really well. It was a super coherent play, because not only did it use that distraction for getting a hardtail past, but because the purloin chain was out there and we were getting the microfilm done, it vastly reduced the amount of activity that was being tracked on us. So we were an inactive spy, and that exact result of wrong Civ getting shot as we are mission completing is just a testament to how well it worked in that moment.
Pearls gets center inspects. Fingerprint is left at the statue to her left. Look at this ambassador. This is bug bait, is exactly what this is. You can never take that one.
Nope. Good on him for not actually taking that bug, because the last bug was a little bit of just I think a reactive bug, and did not go for this one. This one has no cover, so I don't think he's gonna make the mistake. Where last time was just, I think he thought that there was in a different location. We're not going for the 2 flirt here if we actually get this seduce here, which does mean that we probably won't get paired. The nice thing here is we are right next to the double agent, so we can't accidentally get paired as easily with the other person on the other side because we were sidling up to them. Going back to the same conversation, though, we might get false paired with Rocker. I don't remember if Pencil Stash was here before, though.
We have another center inspector over on the left. Quite a few highlights at this party, and we are not one of them. Opie paid a lot of attention to our drink take to make sure that it was not, and we talk cycle, that's interesting. Paid a lot of attention to our drink take to make sure it was not a purloin, and when you spend so much effort trying to clear someone's name, which is what Opie did, it may make you more inclined to think that they're innocent, but we're not innocent at all. We do a very quick green timeout at Windows. That was a very fast watch check. We were running away to the complete other side of the venue as we head into painting. But that's 45 seconds that I think Sauerkraut really desperately needed.
Yes, and as you were noting about Ambassador and Toby on their side, we just take the opportunity to dip over and swing out for a quick time ad, just believing that everything was going in on that and everything was being watched there. So really fantastic there. Obviously, it just resets some of the slowness that we had in there. So it's not like a game where we're looking for one more fingerprint and then we win, and that time is just basically going to guarantee us the win, but desperately needed here, and does give us an opportunity to look for a really good banana bread, which this is pretty good, actually. I was going from not bad to I would actually like to see this banana bread come off now.
The thing that worries me about this contact is Pearls being out. Pearls has been extremely active, very early center inspects next to the Ambassador, was recently seen carrying a briefcase, is carrying a book around, now is picking up another briefcase. Like, if Pearls is in for contact and she gets shot, I would not be at all surprised or concerned.
This is going to be a big moment for Opie, is if we do get a good contact off with Pearls and Opie does not shoot, I think that's going to be a good read on Sauerkraut, because like I mentioned before, I'd actually love to actually see statistics on this. Sauerkraut got a lot of civ shots, at least in this round. I don't know if this is true during the play-in kind of matches, but just this is kind of how you get civ shots. You add a lot of time, you don't play very active, and if you fire off a good double agent, sometimes just somebody will have done stuff, and you'll just get a shot off there. We are finally doing something, though.
We get the print that's been on the statue for probably 2.5 minutes at this point, and we'll pick up a pair of specs. Pearls, by the way, is doing another briefcase. That's at least her third, and that earns her a low light into a highlight. Opie may be flashing the lights as a memory technique, because obviously we are going to keep her lit. But at some point, yeah, here comes the contact, and this one I like a lot.
Banana bread.
So obviously White won't have this, but it is not knocked out. And because there's been multiple timeouts, the chance for there to be fake contacts goes way up, right? Because this could just feel like a spy throwing in some contacts after doing some timeouts, and then just hoping that somebody gets shot. So we might still actually have a lot of suspicion on White for this. And if we finish first, nope.
And we're shot for that fingerprint, which would have put us into mission win countdown. Opie completely on top of it, and we're just the first. I think we're just the first suspect to finish.
Yeah, and so I saw what I really like about that is, one, the discipline for waiting a second, looking at the rest of the party, just like checking something like making sure that Purloin wasn't gone, or something that we knew that Zeke couldn't be part of. And then zooming back in and then shooting, because it's like, okay, this person now had inspects and fingerprint done. So I'm really curious if White Dress would have gotten shot if there was an SDA in there, because she would have been at about the same level of credit as us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting, but not the case. And now OpiWrites comes out of his double with a 3-1 lead, puts him in a very good position, and now is going to be on the spy side of Taeyeon, playing as Bling Twin, and Sauerkraut on his double on the sniper side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And you have to imagine that this is probably the critical point right here, because it's high variance. Ballroom, it does have a decent amount of spy wins, not as much though, so this really could swing back either way. And there is a little bit of chaos. So first off, I think I want to say the worst Soji layout. It is not that important, but I do believe this is the worst Soji layout for Spy.
Yeah, the statue's completely exposed. Not good for Spy, but if this were Sauerkraut, I wouldn't be surprised to see him lean into transfer, because as we mentioned, we've seen quite a bit of that from him. Taeyeon, so far in SMC, exactly a 50-50 Spy win rate through Challengers Game 3. about the same as Ballroom, as it turns out, after the adjustments that were made to the formats for SMC. But OpiWrites going to uncharacteristically miss this green print. That's going to put him a little behind where he could have been. We do have the green flirt in pocket, and we're about to be offered a drink. Here's the 2 flirt done, of course. Chain reset with the sick take, and Toby goes the other way.
Yeah, and the other huge problem with all of the Sojis being on one side is that list is really visible on one side of the map, where oftentimes it's often obscured, right? So you're going to have a lot better ability to track Toby as they move around. And because you don't have to watch statues as much, you can commit a little bit of attention over to microfilm. But sometimes it can go either way. But right now, Opie is actually falling a little bit behind on time because we did not get that fingerprint, and Ambassador has actually been moving around in a way that's been unfortunate to us. We do a sip into a contact, hoping for something like a low light. That is something you can do, by the way, with a confident AT, right? Is you can go for little things like that because you're like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to hit this. I've got perfect concentration on. We get a marked as suspicious. I do not know what that is for.
Yeah, that could be really rough. And, if you're Sauerkraut, honestly, if you see someone sipping during a contact and it's OpiWrites, it might be worth a highlight. It's not necessarily a bad idea.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm dying to know if that's actually the case, right? Because it was a very, very apparent. Because it just happens to be where Twin is standing, that they do not have someone on the other side of the circle from them, and that there's a clear line of sight. It was very obvious that they were. Are we cheesing the
statue? We're cheesing the statue. We know that the laser's on the right hand side. This is the danger of this shoji setup. We were completely off screen when we went to that statue, and OpiWrites knew it from the laser angle, knew that Sauerkraut was selling off with the left hand sniper angle. We have that swap, and I do not think we were seeing that statue at all. We've seen that once in this tournament. We've now seen it again, but the safety off flashes onto Twin. We're putting the safety down. We're mission win countdown. I think the safety flash, but we don't know about the swap. We only have the safety flash. We don't have the mission count, and that's despite the safety flash. It's not going to be a shot. And OpiWrites comes away with this with a cheese win, banking on that sniper angle. A beautiful game, and rough for Sauerkraut, almost taking that shot.
I cannot believe that. That is so. First of all, we didn't even we obviously didn't do a proper check. I think on that because otherwise. We should be sure that they're done with inspect, seduce, and contact, right? And I think that's what the flash was for, right? Was saying, hey, if they do one more thing, I'm going to shoot them. But that one thing had already been done at the far statues. I don't think we even actually looked for a statue swap. So now what I was saying earlier about this being a terrible setup, this was overconfident in the fact that there weren't swap checks. I think if there was a Soji in the way, we would have swap checked because I think Sauerkraut basically wrote swap off this match, or sorry, this map. Oh my goodness, a great read by Opie. That is, I know that popped up in an earlier match as well, where if you're selling out really hard to the right side, and Opie just using the timing exactly right. I mean, we were running low, we hadn't really got much done. That's the exact right time to throw something that way. We might have gotten shot. We probably should have gotten shot, but you just throw something like that there, and that happens. Great idea.
All right. Well, Sauerkraut now. Has given up 4 games in a row, and OpiWrites 1 game away from taking the lead at halftime, which can be very strong. Let's see if Sauerkraut's able to make anything happen on his double on the spy side, playing as Tex in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and so we do get the same layout. There was always that talk way back in the day of enforcing that, but it was always mixed because then when you're sniping exactly what your layout's going to be. So I think this is just coincidence, right?
Absolutely, it is. 3 minutes 10 on the clock. We are taking a very slow start here from Sauerkraut. We will be offered a drink. Surely we don't go for the purloin just dry here with no plan. Indeed, we do not. Just a quick reject. Sauerkraut does take the flirt percent up to 29% with a green as our ST joins cross conversation. But that's all we have to show for the early game.
Yeah, and honestly, the movement by Ambassador is not going to be all that useful for a bit. We're not giving lots of bugs away. The last game really didn't yield that many highlights for Sauerkraut, except for us, ironically. And right there, that was actually a really clean drive by. What was that zoom in? It really seems like we had... What? I was like, okay. Oh, sorry. No, it was for the bug.
It's for the bug, yeah.
I thought that we had given up on the bug. When Ambassador first walked by us, we did not bug. And then when Ambassador got stuck, we did go for the bug. So I missed that part. And then yeah, that's actually very similar to the first Sauerkraut spy loss on Ballroom. I think that was hasty. We didn't need to do that. We got a lot of options on Taein, and I think we had made the correct decision of not going for the bug when Ambassador was stuck. I think we just got a little greedy because Toby and Ambassador were colliding next to us. We're like, maybe this could actually be a perfect invisible bug, but legitimately from the sniper side, it's very easy to see.
All right, well, OpiWrites now 5-1 ahead in this match, coming out making a statement. And let's see if he can continue on the spy side playing as Taft in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And like we mentioned at the beginning, Opie is not going to slow down here with this lead. That would be extremely uncharacteristic. I don't think... Oh, we're going to start with a time ad, in fact. Well, maybe we will slow down a little bit then. We're going to start off with a time ad and jump back in the conversation circle. And that's a pretty good timing for it because Ambassador was kind of in the middle of the map and then moving around. So I do not think this time ad's going to get caught. And it's actually quite nice to get on Taein.
It's interesting thinking about these time ads, especially these white time ads. We go for a fake contact. Unfortunately, the SDA in with us. Wheels does split. Because some of these setups have been adjusted. Taein is one of them, but it's not actually the time, it's the guest count. But some of these players may be second-guessing their ideas of how much time is supposed to be on the clock because they know that some of these formats have been adjusted. So no indication that Sauerkraut is aware that there has been a time ad. OpiWrites willing to take this game a little bit more slowly, look for some good opportunities, but he has to feel at this point like he's sort of playing with house money.
No, agreed, because especially on Taein, Ambassador never really settles on Taein. It's really hard for Ambassador to find a location where they're going to stay for very long. So 45 additional seconds, you can just think of as like 2 or 3 additional Ambassador passes by a couple of guests, right? It's actually very meaningful. Where adding time on library is nice. It's very useful because it lets you flex out your statue visits. On Taein, we have flashes off on Teal, which is not the correct shot, but that is a bad indication because last time we flashed and we waited, we didn't shoot the right spy. So, but this Perlin could be the one thing that changes it. Don't think that she was in the chain. And there it is.
Well, the list is gone. I'm not sure if Sauerkraut's even seen it.
It felt like it was on screen for a decent amount of time, but you might be right because there doesn't seem to be reaction. Okay, surely we see it now. And now I think we have to start parsing out exactly what's happened. Yeah, I think we're taking some tepid neutralites because we're not 100% sure about what's going on with this Purloin. I imagine we must have seen it. The fact that we're still in those highlights is very interesting to me. So Wheels kept his highlight from the banana split. I actually don't really know why we got... now we're flashing on Taft.
So maybe Sauerkraut a little bit more on top of this Purloin than we'd initially thought. And this is almost a must-win for Sauerkraut at this point. So 100 seconds left for Opie to find a contact and one more mission and avoid this shot, and for Sauerkraut to avoid taking the shot onto Teal or Wheels or any other character. Seduce is done. We are still looking for a contact as I believe we have a fake in pocket, but a fake is not enough. We're still in with the SDA, so if we're waiting for the double agent to join, it's not going to happen. Opie will eventually leave, head over to books. That is not where I expected us to see Opie go.
Yeah, he's trying to lose heat here. I do not think we're going to do anything with this book. I imagine we're going to put it right back. Or if we keep it, it's going to be for making us look less suspicious. So yes, SDA left our conversation for a bit and then rejoined. Of course, we did not have any idea of knowing that, which guaranteed that DA was going to come with us. We joined the conversation with DA. This is dangerous.
Look at this laser snap onto Taft from Sauerkraut as we join that conversation. There's the contact. What's the reaction going to be? No obvious decision yet. Safety off and no shot.
Oh my God.
Sauerkraut showing
God.
so much but not actually taking anything. The drink take from OpiWrites, but Sauerkraut's gonna let us stew. That bug! What a bug! And Sauerkraut sees it. Sauerkraut sees it and takes the shot.
Okay. Because the thing is, like, if Sauerkraut lost that game, I know we can't. We don't want to overemphasize things like momentum or psychological state, but that would kill me. It would absolutely kill me if I felt like I was in that position. So Sauerkraut needed to get that win. And even if we got that, if we did not hit that bug, but we didn't shoot for that, I was going to be really worried for Sauerkraut, even if we ended up winning that game. So that time, the patience worked out. I was actually a little shocked we didn't shoot for the contact, but that just means he had a really good read on the fact that Taft didn't have a bug yet. So good on Sauerkraut, and it's not as dire as it was looking a moment ago.
Yeah, this drink take is a designed play by OpiWrites. He takes this drink on purpose to show this wrong arm that he knows he can get and make it look like, hey, I couldn't possibly have bugged. I have a drink in hand. Not quite enough cover. Sauerkraut finds that shot. That was a must win from Sauerkraut, who has now snapped a 5-win streak from OpiWrites and is ready to come back in this game on Taeyeon as small man. You love to see it. Sauerkraut's double trying to hold the 5-3 in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, so breaking the emergency small mind glass early, so I feel like Opie has been burned enough times by Smallman that he's one of the more likely, but we're going to have Ambassador just decides not to go by us, and we are robbed from that essentially free bug. Although it would have given us a lot of dubious credit pretty early on, which I think as Smallman, we want to cheese up our way to flirt first before we start doing our Smallman craziness. I also think with being down 5-2, Sauerkraut, I hope, does not feel ashamed to do just a straight Smallman dance in the back. In fact, I would love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can be tilting for your opponent. It can often be a strong strategy. And Sauerkraut needs some points here. So if Sauerkraut wants to advance, he needs a win in this set. A draw is not enough. A loss is not enough. It must be a win. And we're playing from behind here. There's no question about it. So there's no room for shame. There's no room for dignity. There's only room for W's. And Sauerkraut, speaking of room, has found some of this conversation across from our ST. We do go up to 55% on the flirt, and with 218, there's plenty of time to finish that off. We actually have a lot of cover for this bug, but Sauerkraut can't possibly know that, and we end up not taking it. Maybe our arm would have shown through there, but Opie may be willing to credit that regardless.
Yeah, I'm really worried about the credit on that one. I agree, because Sauerkraut, I don't think he thought that I think Sauerkraut thought that by not taking that bug, they were showing some Civ-like credit. But
here
Irish,
it is.
yeah, just perfect. Here it is. Go. Okay, we do go through, and I think that is actually invisible.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about cover. Having somebody standing between you and the Ambassador often is excellent cover. And Sauerkraut now has one mission in pocket, making progress on flirt, 100 seconds left, and we're in conversation with the double agent. And we haven't been highlight or anything here from OpiWrites. So Sauerkraut, definitely good chances to take this game.
Yeah, it's really going to depend on double agent sticking around. We would like more people to jump into that other thing. And just as I say that, double agent leaves. So, I mean, on Taeyeon, it's usually not a huge deal, especially with a minute and 20 left. Double agent will probably return to a conversation. We're going to have to suss out whether or not SDA is in with us, because we probably can't move very much. So, but as SDA ends up not coming into our conversation, which we really need to finish, because right now we're going to have to go over here to join SDA. ST. And then we might have to switch conversations again. Oh no, both are in here, but we need one more.
Yeah, double agents in our conversation. We have 48 seconds. We just have to take this contact. It's not good. It's really not good. Double agent takes a drink but stays. I mean, this contact is so bad. It's so bad. Can you even take this?
I don't think so anymore. So when you first said it, I was like, yeah, it's a bad contact. Oh god, okay, we do take it. So so the only thing that kills me about this is we get a ton of lowlights off of it. If we had done our final mission during that lowlight spree, we'd be in a great position because OP sold out for lowlights, right? Now we're in kind of a terrible situation because we're just going to go for a swap back here. Yeah. You wouldn't know about this. I know we have to, but
it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
the shot comes off before the swap does, and OpiWrites takes the first half 6-2.
That was going to be a clink and run. He's right. That was, I mean, I guess I should say that because I don't know for sure that Sauerkraut was going to do that. If that was me, that's a clink and run. So he did actually have to take that shot early. Sometimes we say, oh, he could have waited for a few seconds to see the swap confirm. It would have been too late. Yeah, absolutely right. Well, that is, if you can believe it, that's only the first half of this match as we step into our halftime break 6-2 in the favor of OpiWrites. A very strong showing. Of course, we expected Opie to be coming in with all cylinders firing on this match, and Opie is only 2 games away from securing first in bracket, which means he would play Rav
in the first match. Now, of course, it doesn't necessarily sound the kind of thing you want, but the alternative is coming out second in groups and playing Nebula. So nothing easy left here in SMC. Of course, we have been saying that no player has ever come back from a halftime deficit. That's no longer true. We did see that earlier today for the first time from Rav. But before we get into the next set of games, let's just go back and take a look at one particular moment, which I think, it doesn't define Opie's playstyle in this match by any means, which has simply been to have a very, very strong sniper that just lets almost nothing by. But instead, I want to take a look at this bug that we saw on Ballroom in Opie's first game. So let's get this playing. Recall, this is us playing as Rocker. This is the very first game of the set, and this is a game that Sauerkraut ended up winning. But take a look at OpiWrites here. We're going to go for this bug, and we're going to leave conversation right about 3 seconds from now, and we're going to try to bug the ambassador behind. Now what's going to happen is the ambassador walks away at the exact same moment, and OpiWrites is reading this laser angle. It's angled this direction. And so, okay, the arm orientation is good. It's away from the sniper. But the problem is Sauerkraut is a strong enough sniper that he's going to be aware that the arm is not going to cross in front of Rocker's body when it should, when we get past some of this cover. But what OpiWrites does here, which is just a tiny little optimization, just a small thing that he does, which I think shows that he is focused and he's thinking about everything that he does in these games, OpiWrites stops in this conversation. That's not necessarily the kind of thing you do after a bug. After a bug, typically you want to keep going, you want to get away from the scene of the crime, but OpiWrites says, no. I'm going to stop right here on this conversation pad, and it's going to dump me into an idle animation instead of the walking animation that you would expect, where the fact that the hand is not coming forward would be more visible. So Opie, just these tiny optimizations. Yes, it's still visible as a bug. Yes, the hand still should have crossed in front when it didn't, but this decision makes it so much harder to see that. And if OpiWrites is firing on all of these levels, from the macro game plan to the green action tests down to these tiny little things on, I guess you could call it pathing, but just on mechanics, then it shows that he's going to be a very difficult player to take out. And Sauerkraut's going to have his work cut out for him, because in terms of taking him out, Sauerkraut has to win 7 of the next 8 games to come away out of this with a win.
And I want to say that we already crossed the threshold at which Opie is guaranteed to be bracket. Yes? Like, he's going to be either first or second in the group. There's no chance for him being third.
I believe that's right.
All right. Well, so first of all, congrats to Opie for getting up into either playing Rav or Nebula. And I do believe that Opie legitimately does. I believe that Opie would prefer to play Rav. I don't know if Opie has actually said that directly, but Opie kind of famously put Rav, I think, at third in the groups. So I think that Opie has genuinely seen Rav's spy as a liability, and I think would like to prove that. So I'm all down with Opie actually going against Rav, and for Rav to have a chance to show him some spy play, to maybe shake Opie up a little bit. But regardless, congrats to Opie for getting in the upper bracket, but now still has 2 games, I guess, to work with for guaranteeing first in the group, if that sounds right.
And Sauerkraut, still possible to make bracket, but has to almost reverse sweep, otherwise it will be Meteoric. So OpiWrites is going to be starting off this bottom half playing as Teal on the spy side, Sauerkraut on the sniper of Modern, in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And this Modern single and the library one coming up very much work against Sauerkraut, because he has to win at least one of those 2 spy games. OpiWrites joins conversation, pretty dry, bit of a bar rush, but OpiWrites decides, hey, let's go pick up a statue.
Yeah, and this might be a swap. Yeah, I was gonna say the movement on this looks like a swap, especially with wait, what's the we were safety off on.
No.
Sauerkraut
knows.
I was gonna say I thought that we were just gonna instantly get shot, but then the safety was off on Disney, but it was actually just okay. I'm actually gonna wait. So just in case people are jumping in and don't know why before the swap went off there was a shot, it's because of just the very OP-like nature of that and the fact that we broke animations in getting the statue. And so absolutely no chill from Sauerkraut, just a shot and just a win.
Yep, I think Sauerkraut, is willing to take these shots without a mission count, as long as he's fairly confident that, look, this is the spy, and yes, I could wait, but if I wait, there's always the chance that somehow I'll miss the thing that means that I should be at the mission count and take the shot. Let's just take the shot now, and Sauerkraut brings it back to 6-3 as we head into Sauerkraut's spy game playing as Bling on Modern in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And of course, I think at that point, it wasn't even a decision that Sauerkraut made. It was just Sauerkraut has played Nebula 1,000 times and just like, I just need to move this set along. I'm going to shoot right here. That's just like reaction at that point. That's just deep ingrained habit.
Yeah, Sauerkraut, no stranger to long matches, which of course also means no stranger to having to play from behind. 6-3 deficit is barely anything in the context of a 100-game set, so I don't think Sauerkraut's the kind of player that's going to be giving up here, which of course is good for him, and it's good for us. 3 minutes 40 on the clock on Modern. We have walked all the way across. We are walking all the way back, and we head into, will it be statues? Yes, it will. A little bit of a wiggle at the end of that path. Opie, not necessarily the sniper's going to be paying the most attention to that.
And Opie's sniper, the one critique I could make of the games that I happen to be viewed so far is that sometimes on the more ostensibly sniper-favored maps, Opie can try to over-optimize their wins, and sometimes haven't shot for final mission because they're very confident that their mission count is correct. Mm-hmm. So that could come into play here, especially if Sauerkraut's got something completely invisible. Like, Opie wouldn't do that if there was a bug that potentially was just actually invisible, and there's going to be like a partial credit, like half a bug credit, but it'd have to be something that Opie completely whiffs on. But then Opie sometimes just doesn't take the shot, even though they have a complete read otherwise.
Sauerkraut coming in for statue inspect. That is our first mission progress. We've burned considerably more than a minute off the clock at this point. And where are we heading? We're heading into conversation. Oh, no, we're not heading into conversation with our seduction target because she has left. We are still stuck at 0% flirt. And now Sauerkraut might want to be thinking about another one of those time ads.
Yeah, I'm curious where Sauerkraut's can go from there. If we're going to go straight, like we were staring down Ambassador at the other statue, so we are going to join this innocent conversation because our seduction target is being a punk. So I believe we are hoping to finish our fingerprints and inspects at that statue that's directly behind us now, but we would like to do that much, much later. So it's really about the other aspects in between it. We're also catching who's grabbing a bunch of fingerprints. So every time that Ambassador visits bar with briefcase, it creates this little halo of fingerprints at it. So now we should know that Queen and General, and I think there might have even been one more person that they were picking up fingerprint credits, because Sauerkraut does try to include those suspects in his contacts, because again, he has a relatively high civ shot rate.
We talked about Sauerkraut's propensity for doing transfer. We get stuck on the couch. Hate to see that. We really haven't seen any of that yet, so we will join conversation finally with our seduction target. We'll pick up the very first flirt. This is at least green. I wonder if Sauerkraut is going to try and make anything of this book.
Right, this is going to be a bit of a problem. I do not think we're going to, specifically because Opie did swing around, because I think Opie was worried about bookcase shenanigans happening behind somebody at that bookcase. Oh my god, Pearls, are you kidding me? Are you double smudging that statue? You are. Okay, that fingerprint is gone. That was still a difficult on there before Pearls went there, but then Pearls touched that statue twice to ruin that fingerprint. So that is no longer a good option for us, and we're going to look for our inspects somewhere else. I think we really wanted to flow that in with our fingerprints, and now we're really far behind.
We do at least pick up this flirt as our seduction target comes to us. No point chasing her, apparently. She has to come to you. Double agents headed this way. Will join conversation. We actually go for a white contact before she enters. Very spicy. I don't think Opie's going to reward it. But that is 2 missions done, 2 inspects taken, and unfortunately only 25 seconds left. So inspect swap, I think, might be our only option at this point.
Yeah, I think we're going to go to that same statue. I don't even know if we know that this fingerprint's gone, but it is, and we are going to go for an inspect swap regardless. It's regardless of the fingerprint being gone. Yeah.
Yeah, the white swap happens. We get the statue down. Opie's watching. Opie's watching?
Oh,
Opie
no.
is
Oh
not
my God.
watching, and there's overtime, but there's no time, and
He's dancing.
Sauerkraut scams a win.
He does, and because he started dancing, and then he realized there's no laser reaction, and then he settles into the conversation. He was expecting to dance, like 100%. Sauerkraut was moving around because he was trying to dance, and then he actually settles down in that conversation because he's like, wait, what happened? Did I really just do this?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened, and Opie is just focused on something else. Maybe looking at bar, because there are a couple people going to bar last second, and there's overtime, he needs to make a decision, but never checks that late statue visitor. And Sauerkraut, I think it's fair to say, just gets away with something.
Absolutely. And of course, the strange thing is, it really did look like Opie was swinging over. We 100% expected there to just be a shot, because maybe if Opie wasn't looking directly at that statue visitor, or sorry, not directly. Obviously, his laser was on top of it, but his position really looked like he was guarding at that time. So we thought it was going to be something really routine, but no. To be frank, that is a great lesson, in that sometimes you just need to get to wish and win countdown, because things can just happen, right?
Yeah, and then, look, we've talked about the stakes of this match and how far Opie was ahead 5-1. Opie is now ahead 6-4 coming into Sauerkraut's pick. That was Opie's restrict. So if Sauerkraut can sweep Gallery on Opie's restrict, then suddenly it's a 6-6 game going into the last two. So let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Sauerkraut with a way back into this game. OpiWrites on the spy side playing as Red Dress in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And for my prediction to be correct, Opie would have to sweep from here on out. So I think it's fair to say, at least from the predictions that I made at the beginning, Sauerkraut is outplaying what I was expecting from him. So that is fantastic to see.
All right, well, Opie into conversation with our seduction target, looking for 2 flirt. We get the first screen, of course. What else could it possibly be? And 3 minutes 30 on the clock to find something on Gallery.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, Ambassador's not giving us much. We're tracking so much right now with our movement around right now to see who has been at Bookcase, where Ambassador's at, trying to grab some inspect targets, but not really too much actually legitimately going on. We might think that Irish is in there, but of course she is SDA, but we do not know that. And then I think we're just going to timer flirt after scanning this party for a while. There is going to be a fingerprint dropped on the back statue, and we're going to track that for sure. Generally speaking, Opie does not finish both inspects and fingerprints on Gallery. I don't know if that holds true still, but Opie doesn't like just doing like a 3 soft tail plus 1 kind of finish. Usually that's a bit too much, and he thinks that standard snipers should be able to handle that just fine.
How about this? How about just a direct transfer at back bookcases? I think Opie will go for that. No question about it. That's the bread and butter play here in Gallery. The highlight comes off from Sauerkraut onto OpiWrites, and OpiWrites probably felt that laser. So now both players know something, but I'm not sure either one is 100% confident of it. I think Sauerkraut, we would have seen the shot if he was sure, but now OpiWrites headed outside.
Yeah, and I'm curious, so the highlight could be for a lot of different things, right? So the highlight could just be flirt pairing with the 2 people that were at Bookcase, right? So we could have been caught for looking like we were trying to flirt with somebody there, and we don't actually sniff out things. It could be that we just don't remember red hair being there a second before, and we're like, oh, that's kind of sudden. So there's a lot of different reasons for this highlight, which range from basically being dead to actually being not that bad because we'll just finish the flirt anyways. And I
think it's dead.
No,
I think it's dead.
All right. Well, so oh my God. So we did just. I want to go back and see how clean this, or obviously it wasn't clean, but like how cleanly the sniper noticed it, because it really didn't look like. We kept playing afterwards. We kept highlighting and playing. And Sauerkraut has already shown that they generally shoot when they're 100% sure. So I think that highlight was just, wait a second, that person got there and they didn't do a normal approach. They did approach from the side, which is actually, I want to say, that's a great way to note if somebody's doing a direct transfer, is even if you don't notice them cross over, if they didn't walk up from the right angle onto blue bookcase, the only other approach is from conversation circle with a book. And if you have good credit on that, you're like, wait, nobody approached from the long approach. So they shouldn't be there. Anyways, that's probably overthinking it. We probably just saw the transfer, but still, crazy stuff.
All right, well, Sauerkraut now is 1 spy game away from drawing the set. OpiWrites needs a sniper win to stay in the lead. all the way up after the 5-1 start. So Sauerkraut playing as general on his pick of gallery in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I'm curious if...
This is such a weird spawn.
Yes, it is. We're just all alone up here, and then this wave of people, and we get highlight for a second, which I was going to be furious on Sauerkraut's behalf because it was not our fault, right? But it doesn't actually stick, so we're a neutral light after all. It's kind of funny though that there was that highlight. I wonder if there's actually something to that, if that was just an accidental click.
I think it's regardless, an accident for trying to.
It must have been.
Else, yeah. I think Toby was highlighted immediately afterwards.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's probably it. Because there's the arrow from Damon above. I think what we thought General was Toby. So one of the things that Sauerkraut has generally caught Opie on, I want to say, is the little cheesy, really cute plays that maybe I might be reading too much in the Nebula playstyle, but like Nebula would play. Mm-hmm. And some of the ways in which Opie has been more successful is kind of just more, not necessarily standard, but distracting plays.
All right, well, 3 minutes on the clock. Sauerkraut has also hit a green flirt to start off this game, but we're not going to timer flirt. Instead, we're going to gulp and run into blue. There's not really any cover. There's a lot of attention being paid here, and we just immediately walk it not over to green. It looked like we were going to. We bail out last second. We head back into this conversation circle, but we approach it from the green bookcase direction. Sauerkraut trying to sow some confusion about which bookcase this is from, and now it goes back into green, the direction that we came from. Sauerkraut is on the bookcase pad and has not yet been shot by OpiWrites.
That is such a little, like you had mentioned before, the little optimization that Opie did on the bug. That's just such a little piece of visual noise for Sauer to sprinkle in there. That's very cute, and I really love it. I mean, of course, we still have 2 minutes, and we got to do a few other things on gallery. One of the most fraught maps for you to be like, okay, I got 2 minutes, I got a hardtail done, and I just need to do 3 other things. That's no problem. Yeah. One of the worst maps for that, but still.
We're gonna come out here, try to 2-flirt. This is probably in range, doesn't matter, it's a white test. Double Agent has been outside this entire game in that conversation. And Sauerkraut, are we adding time? Surely not. Surely not.
We can't now. Yeah, I would say if Ambassador didn't come through, I think we were going to. But good on Sauer for noticing Ambassador. That actually would have. There was some casual zoom outs just to guard bug very frequently. Because I think you're right. It looked like we were intending to do a time ad and then continue walking like we never stopped. But we caught ourselves as we noticed Ambassador.
We do want to take this contact. Double Agent leaves. He might not never join a conversation again. It's gallery. It's never going to be great. Sauerkraut staring at a bunch of people at statues. Leaves the conversation with the Double Agent to go finish flirt. Okay, I don't mind this, but now we have to go back into this conversation with the Double Agent again, and our spot gets taken. Another spot. I don't think there's room in this conversation anymore. Sauerkraut committing all these behavioral hardtails is obviously trying to hang around outside, and now it's going to go back inside away from the Double Agent to try to work on statues. This is dicey.
It is dicey, and so surely we're not going to try to inspect, contact, inspect. I'm not actually sure exactly what we're doing with this statue here. And we are going for the second inspect, so we might do inspect. We might just go straight to other statues and then go for a contact at the end, because that conversation circle up front is really full, and we're not gonna have enough spacing.
Oh, this path! We get the highlight from Opie. God. I think the highlight is just for completing inspects. Opie staring us down for the swap. So we cannot swap this. There's no chance. We go for the swap. It's a white test, and it's decent cover, but Opie is rotating. Opie can't see it. Can Opie pull the trigger? He pulls the trigger. And Opie finds a win, finally, the first in 4 games. Cannot have liked that shot, but does take it.
He does. I think Sauer stayed half a second too long. Because the thing is, Sauer had to milk out a really long time, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to be in trouble either way, because what Sauer's trying to do is make, internally in Spy's head, you try to get down to 7 or 8 seconds for them to see the hardtail, because then it's really hard for you to get shot in the remaining 3 seconds. So Sauer did not want to leave until there were 3 seconds left, because it's possible for someone to do a little flick and shoot for that. So I think we stayed just a little too long, because we actually did kind of etiquette hardtail, right? Where we were sticking around just a little too long. It was a nice try by Sauerkraut. I 100% agree with you that to me came down to the decision not to banana bread. That said, there was a lot of strangeness with like, and a general could have even gotten low lit from just how much like going in a conversation with a DA, out of a conversation with a DA. Why hasn't there been a banana bread? General's just acting weird and constantly going to windows. Maybe they just get low light, but that wouldn't be very Opie like. Anyways, good shot by Opie. Nice try by Sour. And we are what? It's 7-5 is not that bad from what it was looking like a few matches ago.
It's not that bad, but it does mean that Sauerkraut has to sweep the last 4 games in order to make it into bracket. Opie just needs 1 win, and we have Library in the pocket coming after Pub. So this is still going to be rough for Sauerkraut. Opie starting off on the spy side of Pub in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Quick flirt and leave from OpiWrites, and a quick highlight onto OpiWrites for it. Sauerkraut might have caught that.
Yes, and I mean, I'm really curious. This Pub, I want to say, was Opie's pick. Am I wrong in that? Was
That's
Pub?
right, Opie's pick.
I'm actually a little surprised by that, because it does feel actually kind of like a Sour map. I don't actually know any Sour stats on it. That could just be wrong. But it just feels like the kind of spot where Sour generally, like we talked about, is willing to shoot quickly and on their gut and on intuition. And then one of the significant losses they had as Sniper was not shooting soon enough. And so Pub feels like that kind of slots into their Sniper's playstyle. So we'll see. I mean, we are juggling quite a few highlights. So even though we did get highlight early on, it doesn't mean as much because there's a lot of company with us.
Indeed there is. This is an unforgiving timer for OpiWrites. 77% on the flirt. We did not hit the 2 greens. And so standing next to our seduction target, will we go for this case and try to finish Prince? I would love to see that because we have really not seen these spies lean into Fingerprint at all in this match.
I think Opie just doesn't, obviously is not going for it at this
Banana
point,
bread.
but just doesn't, it seems really reluctant and is maybe taking the, we're getting a lot of lowlights off that.
It was only real for 1 conversation, so only 3 people, Duke, Twin, and Teal, have real contact. Now the question is, does Opie have something special planned for any of them as we see the highlights for reals coming off from Sauerkraut, trying to get the neutral light onto Alice. We'll finally find it. We actually see Sauerkraut struggling with some of these lights from time to time. OpiWrites now going into statues. We'll pick up the inspect, so that'll be 2 missions done along with the flirt. Will we go for the swap? We do! We go for the swap, and Sauerkraut sees it, takes the shot. Not gonna let that one through, stays alive in this tournament.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously that was a bit of a coin flip, right? Which is not necessarily a bad call from Opie at that point. If we didn't go for that bit of a coin flip on the swap where it's just a strange timing for the swap, and then I want to say that Opie probably intentionally white swapped that. I don't think it would have been a good idea for us to green swap that. So unclear if after this there would have been a sieve shot, because really I think with all the time that Opie burned in the beginning with that conversation circle, I think Opie was really hoping to induce a shift shot with that BB, which was not a bad idea. And then after that, took another coin flip and just like, well, maybe they're just not going to look at the swap because there's so much they need to watch with like 6 people with 2 mission credit.
All right, well, Sauerkraut, I mean, we're doing it the hard way. This is the 3rd general game in a row, by the way, in this match. Sauerkraut now on the spy side of Pub. OpiWrites on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And I would imagine that is not a mind game by Opie, but I am not going to rule out this is a mind game by Sour.
That would be pretty wild. We have Duke going in for an inspect. We have Smallman. No, not getting the inspect, actually. He'll have to walk away. We have the double agent doing the inspect instead. Sauerkraut, not a lot of early progress. Big stack up on bar. If Sauerkraut goes for some kind of delegate coin flip, I mean, it's putting a lot of faith in your tournament life on that coin flip. Of course, you still have library coming up. And
yeah,
we get the bug, and it's not terrible.
It's not terrible. The redirect, for some reason, the redirect felt off, but I am not a great pathing sniper. At the very end, it felt like the path had cleared, and then we chose to turn around. Now, I don't know if Opie cares enough. Like, I don't think Opie is going to be like, oh, I'll take a shot based on that. It would be hilarious if we inspect swap here. I would love to see that. Even though I think it would not work, I would still love to see it.
All right, well,
No, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, the inspect comes off. We put the statue back. Discretion here is the better part of valor after that bug. I think Sauerkraut is probably a little more spooked about that bug based on his experience with Nebula. He's going to pay a lot more attention to those kind of pathing things, I think, than OpiWrites is. OpiWrites is just going to look for the bug, and in this case, perhaps not see it. So we have a minute 21. Sauerkraut takes a very short stay in that conversation, joins the double agent. Remember, Sauerkraut cannot lose a single game. So it's all coming down to all of these moments. Are we going to take the contact? We do. It's a pretty good time for it. I don't think this will provoke a shot. Low lights coming off from OpiWrites, not willing to shoot just on the basis of the conversation moves. And Sauerkraut pulls off another win, draws the set 7-7. And that is just, I mean, before we even get to library, before we even see what happens in this game, Sauerkraut coming back from a 1-5 deficit to a 7-7 draw going into the final venue. I mean, huge comeback, huge showing from Sauerkraut.
Absolutely, I love it. And I would love to know if we just left there because we didn't want any sort of credit for flirt, and we just wanted to basically very ostensibly never had an opportunity to flirt. So because we were in conversation with Amba, so just an intelligent way to maximize their chances on that one off the back of a great bug. So well done, because sometimes it's not as clear what you do with a really good bug on any 3 of 7 pub. Like, what are the other 2 things you want to rush down and try to push your luck? But very well done by Sauer. And we kind of like almost called this out from the beginning, because one of the things when I was looking at the draft was, okay, if we go all the way, library is going to be the last venue. And then there, for some reason, I've seen a bunch of matches end on like library, or like the library or veranda, or some very sniper side, or something like balcony, where it's the other kind of stress, where it's like, oh, I feel like I don't have total control over my fate here. Now this is on you. Like, this should be a skill win from whichever player. Like, if Sniper's on point, they probably should win both of these, and it'll be a huge deal if Sniper drops either one of these games.
All right, well, Sauerkraut starting off on the Sniper side needs to sweep in order to advance. Otherwise, New York will take slot number 2. OpiWrites on the Spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And
I don't want to call it a full-on comfort pick, but I do actually think that Rocker is Opie's comfort pick. So I'm not surprised to see that here. I think that neither player is going to choose Smallman. I think, honestly, if I was playing this one, I might even just low-light Smallman, because I don't think either one of them with a tie or win on the line is going to pick Smallman, just because they don't have to deal with just like randomly getting shot. And we do pick up this instant flirt, and we run away really quickly. It was nearby. We'll see if something comes out of that.
We will get this book. We're not really on camera. And we take it out.
Indeed, we do take it out. We were seeing going kind of nearby, but this doesn't look like it would be a terrible choice by Opie to go ahead and dump this. Probably can't do it. Oh, are we gonna do both?
Yeah, we are.
Flirt and yeah,
we absolutely are. And Sauerkraut, this is his chance to try to identify the spy. Now, you probably don't shoot yet, right? Just like we saw Sauerkraut not shoot immediately for that transfer. I think it was on gallery. But that is transfer done and flirt done. And OpiWrites, I think, so far has really avoided any detection whatsoever, and may just want to rush this down. We're in conversation with the double agent. We still have a book, by the way. We put in and took out, I suppose.
Yes, so we still have the book. Well, no.
Oh no, we don't. I'm sorry. That was
it was okay. In Wheels. Wheels has a weird spot where he holds the book. I also was confused because I was like, that would be a really weird thing for him to do. Okay, we're gonna contact here. We're right next to Ambassador. Are we gonna do something cheeky right here? We try. Oh no, we do.
Takes.
We do. I thought we were out
of.
I can't believe that. I was already in the thing of, oh yeah, that's too far. Opie messed up. I can't believe that took.
Okay, well we're just one mission away, and yes, center inspects. Let's go. The highlight comes off an OpiWrites. Sauerkraut can't possibly take a shot here, and OpiWrites is gonna hit 8. Is gonna draw the set on the back of this inspect when Sauerkraut doesn't take this shot in the next 5 seconds, and I just don't see how he possibly could.
because not only that, because there are two invisible missions right now on Opie. So if Sour didn't hit either the bug or the transfer, they're probably going to wait because it's library, and you actually do try to over optimize and try to wait on this. It's a horrible feeling. So we did get marked suspicious after the bug, by the way. Or sorry, not well after the bug because we went into the statues. So we were watched a little bit. But I think we were just being guarded for a swap because I think we either missed the bug or we missed the transfer.
Yeah, and this bug taking, it swings the whole set. And Opie's able to finish a game of library at this level of play in 2 minutes. And that is what makes the whole thing happen.
That is, and obviously, like, this is such a strange position to be in, is when you need a win on a map like library, it's hard to know which direction to go because you kind of have to choose it. Are you going to go all in on a civ shot and try to do something like a swap play, or are you actually going to try to do the very slow climb of trying to get five missions, just like Opie did in that last game? So really curious to see how this goes. We've picked General again for what it's worth.
All right, well, no stakes for this match. I don't think, just playing for pride. And honestly, both of these players should have a lot of it based on how the match has gone. But let's see how the last game goes in 3, 2, 1, playing. And you know Opie's going to play every game of this set.
Oh, absolutely. No, Opie wants the win line because the thing is, like, at this point, I think that so the two of us, and I think Opie included, probably expected just a little bit more of a buffer on this. And if it goes to a tie, that would be a little bit, that would be an upset. I wouldn't even say a little bit of upset. That would be an upset and a fantastic showing out of Sour. So if you get a win, sometimes it's just kind of wiped clean and people will forget if it was close or not. So you might just be playing that way. But also, Opie right now, I don't think ever wants to leave the competitive mindset of trying to play as hard as they can right as they're trying to slide into, I guess they're guaranteed Rav now.
Guaranteed Rav, yeah. Yeah, so congratulations, Opie. You get to play Rav in a game of SpyParty, so look forward to that. But the match is not over. Sauerkraut did not try to Purloin. We were not really behind Pillar, the kind of way you'd want to be behind Pillar. So just the 2 inspects are the progress so far from Sour, and not a lot else, not a lot of indication that we are planning to move super soon, but we do go for this briefcase? No, we don't actually, we go in for books.
We go in for books, so we pick up the early inspects. So the way that a library often paces out is that spies will finish at statues. Sometimes they'll go for the...
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! Oh, it ends like this! Oh, I mean... So we're probably going to lose that game anyway, just because it's library, you know? So this is not like throwing away like a balcony game or something where it's like you really did have a good chance of just something happening and winning. So that will be muted somewhat, and it at least the scores had been settled down into what was going to happen, because God, I'm actually very happy for Sour that if that happened, it happened in the last game, where it did not have specific direct consequences, because that would be haunting. It would be absolutely haunting, especially after doing so well in this set.
Yeah, I really like this idea, actually. You know, we're at the bookcase, very close to this conversation. You can see Sauerkraut is planning this out all the way from back here, right? Where he goes into the very left corner of this bookcase, gets as close to the conversation as possible, and our plan is to run in, contact, green contact specifically, run back onto this bookcase, and never have been in this conversation and get a low light for being out for BB. Obviously it doesn't happen because we get the red contact instead, which is not the one that we wanted, and Rocker bounces us away from the bookshelf, but it's a neat idea. General has a very fast read animation, doesn't end up working, and that means that OpiWrites takes the win, goes undefeated out of groups, same as Nebula, and we have our final SMC Champions bracket. OpiWrites will play Rav, and Mean York will play Nebula. And just huge congrats to every player in SMC, everyone that was in Challengers, everyone that made it to Champions Round Robin. Sauerkraut with a fantastic showing, I think it's fair to say. I mean, these games have been the very highest level, and a 9-7 set against like SMC OpiWrites, where we know OpiWrites has been on the massive grind lately, a great result.
No, absolutely. And like you mentioned at the beginning, I think maybe every single set, Sour has outperformed the consensus of at least the people on the stream. So it is even though Sour kept outperforming, we still continue to underrate them. And so maybe finally this will break that streak because this is a great showing by Sour. This was fantastic play. It ended in kind of a weird way, but that is one where we were just going to be taking risks regardless. I love to see the play and some of the great, fantastic shots, catching Opie on some very good play as well. So, yes, absolutely. And also just great. So, this also means that we're basically kind of like, I mean, this kind of already happened in the previous one, but saying goodbye to everybody but 4 players because now it's all 4 that are set up, right?
That's right. It's all 4 that are set up. We do have one more match to cast in the Champions Round Robin. It is Lev versus Legorv for 3rd place, which of course does have stakes. 3rd place is still in the prize money. That will be cast at a later point as it does not impact the Champions bracket standings. So for now, we're going to be signing off for the weekend, but we're going to bring you 2 extremely high-level matches this week. We'll, of course, have the grand finals and the bronze match the week after that. And that's going to wrap up SMC. So until then, Slappy Davis, thank you so much for coming on and casting with me what, again, has proven to be a fantastic match.
No, I mean, it's not always true that when you get really high level competitive Spy Party that it's also fun and great to cast, but this is absolutely one of those games. Sometimes really skilled games come down to honestly pretty dry calculated sets. This was not one of them. This was wonderful to see creativity on both sides and serious congratulations to both. And love to see where Opie and Minnie are able to move from this group on from here. Of course, they'll be playing against Robin, Nebula. So anyways, it's been really lovely so far, and I'm sure it'll continue.
All right, that's it for us. Thanks everybody so much for watching, and we'll see you back here next time.